Hey, and welcome to the Cost of Living Taipei edition. All right, so let's get started right to the first topic, visas. If you're an American citizen, you automatically get a landing visa as soon as you come into Taipei or anywhere in Taiwan. You get a 3-month visa that's good for exactly the 90 days, and that's it. It's not extendable at all, which is crazy. And then if you come here on a student visa, you can get a 6-month visa for a student visa. You just have to apply your home country, give them a bunch of documents that they ask for, and then you get a 6-month visa. You can't extend it, so you have to exit the country and then reapply at another Taiwan embassy and then come back with the new student visa. The workaround for that is like if you stay in Taiwan for 4 months continuously, then you can apply for ARC card, short for Alien Residence Card, K Housing. I have a list of prices that I've written down. These are all places that I've lived in, and I'm gonna give you a breakdown of each one. So the first time I came to Taipei, I stayed only 2 weeks. I rented an Airbnb, and I paid $717.90. Now back then I didn't know it, but looking back, totally got ripped off. That's like the worst price you can ever pay. And it was in Xinyi Anhe district. Then the next time I came to Taipei, I stayed in a more nicer area called Zhongsha Donghua. There I rented a Airbnb for the whole month, and then for the price, I negotiated the price with the owner, and so we came down originally from like $1,500 all the way down to $759.11. So hey, it pays to open your mouth and talk. It's like they say, closed mouth doesn't get fed. And then later on, when I came back and I was roommating, I found a room in Wenshan, which is like south of Taipei. It's like close to the brown line of the MRT. So I was paying, rent and utilities combined $237.49 for that one. It's pretty much like 1 bedroom and then separate bath and then common kitchen and living room area. It wasn't too bad. The only problem is like commuting to classes sucked because the classes were in the center of Taipei around Taipower building area, so by Shida. And so to get there I had to take a bus and then the train and then take a U-bike all the way to campus. The time I spent commuting, I could have been doing work and being productive, but waste of time. And so the next place in Ximen. So when I stayed in Ximen, I rented a room for a whole month on Airbnb, and this one was like super cheaper than a lot of the other ones that I saw. That one was $578.42 per month, electricity and water, everything included. Problem was like there was somebody who lived on a different floor who used to come to our floor and smoke cigarettes in the hallways. Huge signs everywhere that says no smoking. I guess this guy can't see a 5-foot tall sign or something. And then one time I caught him and then he ran away like a little girl. The room would fill up with the smell of smoke, and he just made me feel sick. So screw that place. I left early and got my money back for that place. And then this final room in Gongguan, it's an area with a lot of different schools. So this area, I live like right next to a night market. And the building is super old. The rooms were all remodeled, but it's still, it's like insulation was really bad. The base rent was $500, and then electricity came out to about $50.85. And now we come to the food part. So believe it or not, in Taipei, the cost of fruits and vegetables are not very cheap at all. In fact, it's pretty much close to like US prices. Depending where you shop at, if you go to the supermarkets, you're gonna pay a little bit more than if you go to the open markets. And so what happens is pretty much daily budget for food. You can expect to pay about $10 a day on food. If you go to a night market, say the cheapest would be like 30 cents for a snack, and you gotta combine a bunch of snacks together, and then like say you do like 3 or 4 together, so that's what, like $1.20. Okay, so the thing is like, yeah, you can get cheap food at the night market, but how many days in a row can you eat night market food until you get sick of it? Because every night the night market's gonna be exactly the same food. And so pretty much $10 a day is pretty realistic. That covers breakfast, lunch, dinner, and maybe like a beverage of sorts. Obviously cooking home is going to be cheaper, but a lot of places don't have kitchens, so But pretty much if you just, plan on eating out all the time, expect to spend about $10 a day. Transportation. Taipei has a lot of different modes of transportation you can take. You could take city bikes, which are called U-bikes. The public bikes, you just swipe Easy Card. Easy Card is like it's a card system, transportation card system. You add money to it, and you can swipe it for the bus, the train, or in this case, the city bikes to rent one. So if you want to rent a city bike, it'll cost you about 34 cents per 30 minutes, which is the cheapest, I've ever seen for any city. And then if you want to ride the bus, it's about 51 cents per ride. And then MRT, on average, low one is 68 cents. And then the high end is $2.21. And then Uber is the big rideshare player there. I calculated all my trips. On average, I paid about $6.66 for one ride. And the reason why it's so high is because Uber has like a $5 fee per ride. So no matter what distance you go, like they're always going to have a flat fee of $5. I'm sure there's other like ride-sharing apps. Uber is the one that I know of, but you use some other ride-sharing apps and it'll be a lot cheaper because they won't have this $5 base fee. So that wraps up for transportation. This next section is a co-working section. And so pretty much in Taipei, the co-working scene is kind of non-existent. I say this because I lived there for almost 2 years and, I really couldn't find any real co-working space. Some of them, are not in business anymore. They shut down. Some of these are like hostels, and then some of these are just like cafes. And then there's like a few maker spaces. So makers are like people who build 3D stuff or fabricate stuff. Yeah, it's gonna have tables where you can sit down and do work, but completely different than a co-working space. Now, what Taipei does have, on the other hand, is they have a lot of cafes, namely like Starbucks. They have so many Starbucks in Taipei, and many of these Starbucks have about 3 stories of seating. In Taipei, they go crazy about Starbucks. They get coffee, they sit and they study for hours. And they have a lot of boutique cafes also. And the thing about Taipei is it's super rare to find outdoor seating at a cafe. Like if you do manage to find outdoor seating, it'll be taken up by people smoking. You're just gonna have to stay with indoor seating. And pretty much many places don't even have outdoor seating, so that's a dead shot already. All right, gym costs. Gyms are kind of expensive. The reason for that is because a lot of people don't really work out. But now the city is seeing a trend and a lot more people starting to work out because the government is encouraging people to go work out, especially the older population, because they don't want to pay for so much healthcare. What you can expect to pay, so for World Gym, which is like a big chain, it's all over Taiwan, I was paying about $50 a month, and that was like for multi-gym access. I can go to any chain location and use their facilities. There's not that many options. They do have a city gym. The city gym is about $1 per 70 minutes. But the problem with the city gym is that if you go at the wrong times, it's super crowded, and then also they don't have that much equipment, and some of the locations are not so convenient. It's what you can expect from a city gym. All right, first time costs. So depending on what season you come to Taipei, will determine, your first time costs. But the thing about Taipei, daytime it'll be warm or hot, and then nighttime it'll cool down considerably. And so in the winter time, if you rent an apartment that has really bad insulation, which is most of the places there, because most of the buildings are like more than 50 years old, then you definitely need to get a blanket. So you got to invest in a blanket. If that's not enough, you have to go buy a heater. Average price for a blanket starts at like $30 and goes up. You can pay all the way up to $100. Heated blankets, which you can get for like about $40, and then a heater. Heater prices start from all the way as low as $15 all the way to $120. And then many hotels you stay at, many places you stay at, don't even have heaters. Most places don't have kitchens unless you rent like a bigger place and then you roommate with people and then you have to share a kitchen. In that case, usually everything will be included already. If you rent a place with no kitchen, you got to buy, kitchen utensils and supplies, which can range anywhere from $15 all the way up to $65. For plates, cookers, pots, pans, forks, knives, everything. And then apartment deposit, whatever is your base rent. So they want like 1 or 2 months ahead in advance, plus the first month. So you got to pay 3 months up in advance. That'll be your deposit costs. And that's about it. So entertainment costs. Now in Taipei, you still have like Chinese rules where like people smoke in bars and clubs. They passed a law that says it makes it illegal to do it, but some places still do it. Alcohol. If you go to a bar, expect to pay like about $6 average, but usually most people go to 7-Eleven, buy beers for between $1 all the way up to like $6. Well, $6 for like a whole pack, and so that one beer would be like maybe around $1 or less. And then cover charge. Most places don't have cover charges unless you go to some fancy clubs, and even then, sometimes it'd be like between $3 to $15. Aside from nightlife, you can go do like Latin dance classes. So there's one place I used to go to called Bailalo, Taipei Bailalo. And so A-class card, last time I checked, is about $95. So 8 classes will, if you do 1 class per week, that'll last you 2 months. And so, it's a decent way to socialize, meet new people, and learn a new skill. Claw machines, they have these like claw machines, they grab like toys, and then you have to try to get it, drop it into the hole and win the prize. Those start at about $10, 10 Taiwan dollars, which is about 34 cents, per play. And then some machines with bigger prizes obviously are going to have higher costs, higher starting costs. But on average, these claw machines are everywhere, and they can get pretty addicting. There's not much to do for entertainment. It's a small city, It's like, how many different things can you do there? You can go take a hike if you don't like everything else, and that's free. You just have to pay for the transportation costs to get to the place to go take a hike. And there's many places in Taipei to take hikes, and there's a lot of blogs around hiking in Taipei. All right, so if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to my videos. This helps to encourage me and support my channel towards making more and high quality videos. So if you like it, let me know in the comments below. Now, your moment of Zen.